Good morning, everybody. Welcome to GIS Day. We're going to be kicking off our presentations in the board chambers in about 5 minutes. So make your way into the board chambers. Thank you. Announce that we're starting. Good morning. Let me have everyone's attention. We're starting the presentations in the board chambers. Please make your way into the board chambers. Thank you. I think you're fine. We have some buffer time.
They're so loud out there, it's kind of hard to hear.
You guys want to help?
So these three? Yeah. Sounds like taking on each shot.
Hello, my name is Supervisor Jose Medina, and I have the privilege of serving Riverside County's District 1. It is an honor to join you in celebrating GIS Day. As a longtime educator, I understand the importance of giving students access to the tools and technology that shape our future. Geographic Information Systems, GIS, are at the heart of that work, whether it's planning safe neighborhoods, protecting our environment, strengthening public health, or supporting first responders. GIS helps us to make better decisions for our communities every day. GIS Day is a time to see these tools in action. It is also a chance for our students to discover career paths in planning, aviation, fire protection, transportation, and more. I hope you will join us as we learn, connect, and inspire the next generation of leaders. I look forward to seeing you there.
So welcome. We're just going to give a few more minutes for the folks outside to make their way in, and then we're going to get started just in a couple minutes. So sit tight. You can come inside too. I'll be here 9:45, so I'm going to start. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Riverside County's GIS Day. We're excited to have you join us for a day of learning, networking, and exploration. Today's event brings together students, GIS professionals, county staff, managers, and members of the public to celebrate how geographic information systems help us better understand and serve our communities. So the format for our event today, we have some guest speakers throughout the day sharing how GIS impacts their fields. We have interactive booths both inside inside and outside by county departments and partner agencies. We have drone demonstrations every hour outside, showcasing our cutting-edge aerial mapping technology. We're also going to have some raffle draws during our breaks, so be sure to participate in those. A couple housekeeping items. There's going to be no food or drink in the board chambers, and then bathrooms are located just outside next to the check-in table. So please visit as many booths as you can and get your event packet stamped at each one so that way you can keep track of whose booth you visited and what you learned from that department. So like I said, in our raffle drawings, we have some books, we have some some items giveaway items, we have gift cards, and we also have a grand prize donation from the fire department that will be raffling off at our later on this morning. Thank you for being part of this year's celebration. Let's make it a great GIS day, one that highlights innovation, collaboration, and the power of mapping. So thank you for coming. I will be introducing our next speaker here in a second. So before we actually kick off and go to our first presenter. So sit tight for just a couple minutes and we'll start off our day. So thank you very much.
ask a few questions. Not as tall as you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Crystal Carrillo. I am a senior management analyst with the executive office. Thank you all for joining us here today. I'm also serving as a co-chair for the EGIS committee here with Riverside County. Just by a show of hands, how many students do we have in the room? Yay. Okay. City jurisdictions? Okay. County employees? Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. I'll go ahead and hand it off to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. So I'm Dave McMillan. I'm the county surveyor. I work for the transportation department, and I'm very happy to introduce, an honor to introduce a distinguished member of our community and a supporter of geospatial innovation, Supervisor Jose Medina of District 1. Supervisor Medina has been committed to advancing technology, education, and community services across Riverside County. Today, he joins us to welcome everyone to GIS Day and help underscore how geographic information systems play a pivotal role in government planning and public safety. Please join me in welcoming Supervisor Jose Medina.
Good morning. Great to be here with you this morning, and thank you to the GIS committee for organizing this event, and to David for the introduction. Good to be here with you and with so many students, educators, and professionals who are helping Riverside County lead with innovation and data-driven decisions. So before I ever thought about running for County Board of Supervisors, I spent decades, 34 years in the classroom, teaching history and government. One thing I always told my students was that maps tell stories, not just where things are, but why they matter. Back then, we used rolled up maps hanging behind the chalkboard. Today, those same stories live inside dynamic systems where data moves in real time and maps respond to the world as it happens. That is what makes GIS so powerful. It transforms information into sight. For the students here today from Riverside Poly, Moreno Valley, and Riverside Community College, you represent the next generation of problem solvers. Maybe you're interested in technology, art, or social change. Maybe you want to fix traffic, protect wildlife, or understand how climate change impacts your neighborhood. No matter your passion, GIS gives you the tools to ask smarter questions and find clearer answers. My message to students is simple: stay curious. Ask, what if we could see our community differently? Because that is where innovation begins. Here in Riverside County, GIS is not just a software system, it's a living map that helps us make better choices for people. It helps emergency teams plan evacuation faster during wildfires. It helps transportation planners design safer roads. It helps public health teams track resources during crises, and helps our Parks Department ensure that every community has access to green space. In my own office, Supervisorial District 1, we use GIS every day. We have worked closely with Nathan Chung and the RCIT GIS team to bring our District 1 data to life on a map, turning spreadsheets and reports into something you can see and understand. This type of information does not just help us make better decisions, it helps us tell the story of District 1, where investments are happening, where challenges remain, and where opportunity is growing. It reminds us the data is most powerful when it connects back to people and place. I want to thank Nathan for helping our office make that possible. As a teacher, I used to say that learning does not end when the bell rings. As supervisor, I have realized that innovation does not stop when the budget is approved, but requires constant curiosity and willingness to ask, can we do this better? That is why events like today matter. They remind us that the government is not just about policies, it's about discovery. It's about finding smarter, fairer, and more sustainable ways that people can connect to opportunity. I want to thank all the GIS professionals, the unsung heroes who make our data understandable and our decisions accountable. Again, a special thanks to Nathan and the RCIT GIS team for supporting our office and showing how collaboration turns information into impact. To our partners from Esri, our universities, and every department represented here, thank you for helping us see our county more clearly. Before I close, I want to say something directly to the students. You are growing up in a time when you can carry the power of GIS in your pocket, through your phone, through open data, and through creative tools we could not imagine 20 years ago. Use that power with purpose. Use it to tell your community's story. Use it to make sure that everyone, no matter where they live, can be seen on the map. At the end of the day, GIS is not just about data points, it's about people. Thank you so much and have a happy GIS Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Supervisor. All right, our first speaker. So we have our first speaker from the Sheriff's Department, Chase Van Schoonhoven. Chase is a GIS analyst with the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. Chase serves as the county's 911 coordinator and a master street address guide coordinator. In 2023, he was recognized as the GIS Technologist of the Year by the Southern California Association of Public Safety Communications Officials. Chase is also a U.S. Army Reserve veteran, where he served as a geospatial imagery analyst, and he holds a Master of Science in Geographic Information Science and Technology from USC. Please welcome Chase Van Schoonhoven.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Dave. So today I'm going over what we've called GEARS, a nice little pithy acronym we came up with to make people remember it, because anything else you come up with that's long, nobody will care or remember. So we have a few goals when we made this product. We wanted to manage our teams, facilities, infrastructure, and critical incident information. We wanted to track how many people need to be evacuated, what critical infrastructure we need to be aware of and monitor during a critical incident. But we also want to be able to share this information and the applications with other agencies, with CAL FIRE, with our partners in cities, because these incidents aren't just bound by geographical boundary. Something that happens in Riverside County isn't only going to affect Riverside County. It may affect a city such as Menifee, Marietta, who don't require services, so we need to be able to share our information with them during a critical incident. And we want to be able to share that data more easily using the system. So we made a bunch of applications and some dashboards. GEARS is made up of multiple parts, so not just a single GIS tool set. We have our map incident response, where we can we can map incident response facilities, teams, incident points, lines, and areas. We can monitor roadblocks and closures, both through TLMA's data and our own. And we can query information that we've put out so that we can give reports and guidance to critical decision makers. We also have a tool called ERG and threat analysis, which we can use, and I'll explain some more when I get to the slide. Depending on what the incident is, we may be able to set up guidelines for how far we need to evacuate, what the response should be in particular. And then we have an evacuation status editor so that we can monitor the number, quantity, how people have evacuated, if they're sheltering in place, if they're partially evacuating, and things like that. And the dashboard then gathers all that information together and displays it for the decision makers. And this is all pinned together by a script that looks at the Genesis evac application. So when areas are decided that they're going to be evacuated, we look at the information in that evacuation area and we can figure out automatically how many houses, buildings are in that area without having to do a manual count every time. So here's sort of the workflow. I know it's going to be hard to read. I did not quite realize how far away the screens were going to be when I made my slides. So on the top, there's the start, be very hard to read, just below workflow. So that's when a zone changes. So when we decide that people need to be evacuated, EMD, fire, and us say somebody needs to be evacuated, that'll trigger the script, which then brings in information from our data, from other data sources like Highfield, which is Homeland Security's data, Esri's data, a bunch of different places. We run that through the script to create an address point layer so we know exactly how many address points are in that area that's going to be evacuated. It then goes to those green polygons on the bottom, which are our operational planning tool, our ERG threat analysis tool, evacuation status editor, dashboard, so we can get that information to the stakeholders. So again, not gonna be able to read any of this, I'm sorry. So this is our operational planning tool, and on the right-hand side, you'll see a bunch of little polygons with some text you're not gonna be able to read, I'm sure. But those include things like our incident perimeters, points, lines, and polygons for the incident, so if we need to mark out a particular point for something, or if we want to mark out a line for if the fire crosses this line, we need to do another action, for example. But it also includes things like our teams. So our mobile field force teams, we can put information down for where they are. We can put things down like our mobile command post. Any of our people, facilities, infrastructure that we need to activate during a critical incident, we can track that in here. We can also put things down, roadblocks, road closures, single direction, multi-direction, detours if needed. Okay. And so that's all just to track everything we possibly can that we are in charge of or that we need to know during an incident. So this is some more details. These are kind of things we collect during the incident. So we have numbers, we have what type of incident is, we have a big drop-down list, things like wildfires, flooding, winter storms, any natural disaster you can think of is on that list, but it also includes things like cyber attacks. If a large protest is happening, we need to be able to monitor the situation. That can also go in here. And then we include things like times, a description, whether it's active or not. So the active is very important to us because it maintains data after the fact. So when it becomes inactive, we still save all that information, but then it doesn't show on the map. So it doesn't clog up the map with a bunch of things that have happened. But if we need to go back and look at what happened, we have that information available. So this is an example of a tool that Esri has called Near Me. So we're looking at the point layer that was created during our script, and we want to look at this particular area, and I believe that's Palm Springs, and it gives us an exact count of how many address points are there. So in this, I can't even read this. I believe it's 969, if I remember correctly from that count. So we know exactly how many houses are there, and then we can do an estimate of how many people are in each house to know whether they've been evacuated, how many people exactly need to be evacuated, so we know how many resources we need to deploy to help evacuate them. So this is a screenshot from our ERG tool. I believe that's the 91-215 interchange. And this is an example of lithium battery fire and the area you need to be to evacuate to have clear during this sort of thing happening. So the inner is where most expected, and then the outer yellow ring is the possible area. And so we can use this tool for all types of things, for gas spills on the road, so a tanker turns over and spills. How big of an area do we need to clear out? Any sort of chemical, biological, all those things are in this tool that we can then track and set up in points, splines, polygons of how big of an area we need to evacuate. So then we have our dashboard, which is, I think, the most important part because the stakeholders need to know what to do and need to have critical information to respond to incidents. So this conveys most of that information we built into other tools, displays the layers from Genesis, which is EMD-powered application that sends out notifications to the citizens when an area gets evacuation warnings or shelter in place, all that stuff. And it's customizable, so we can change the layout and the information on there for bigger events, concerts, elections, things like that. So here's a screenshot, and I think this displays a lot of it. So in red is a big area from, do you remember that fire's name, Tracy? The most recent fire? Was it Holy? No, it wasn't Holy. No, it was a smaller one that was more recent. Airport, nope, not airport. That's okay, doesn't matter. Irrelevant. But that area is the area that we had evacuating. The red area is the area we had evacuating during that incident. And so on here we can see, actually I have text big enough to see, there's 2 zones from Genesis that we're using for the evacuation area. We know there's exactly 466 address points in that area. And then we've had one response resource, which is our incident command point, that very small blue and white box down there. And you can see the outline for the fire from the previous night's aerial. You can see how close it is to those. And so obviously we want to keep fires moving that eastwardly direction. We're going to evacuate those people east because we don't want the fire spreading that way and catching them. And then you have numbers for evacuations, shelters in place, no response, the graph just to the left of the map. So we had 5 evacuated, 4 no response, 7 sheltering in place. All of those are the points right next to the outline for the fire perimeter. And then we had 1 active response resource, which was our incident command post. I believe this was taken during past the peak point of the fire, so things have calmed down a little bit. So those are kind of the main portions of what we call gears. We can collect a lot of data, synthesize it, and present an output so that our commanders, our teams can take action and help people when they need it during a critical incident. I have questions in there. Please find me during a break if you do have questions. I'll be happy to talk to you in more detail. I know it's hard to see some of my slides. I can also send those to you if you'd like, so please let me know. Thank you.
We do have some time for questions if anyone has any questions for Chase. I know Chase wanted to get back to his seat, but does anyone have any questions for Chase that you want to ask him? We got one over here. We got a microphone. We'll bring it to you.
It's a great presentation, and the integration of all the tools together is wonderful. I have one question is about the addressing.
Yes.
So usually you have one address point for like 1-story buildings. If there are multiple levels, how do you handle those kind of addressing data?
So generally those are more distinct ones. And a lot of our biggest events don't involve those buildings because it's more at wildland urban interfaces where those buildings are much less common. But we do have notes on our address points for those types of buildings. So we would just make exceptions in our calculations to know a multi-story building. We know approximately how big it is. There's just sort of exceptions for those because there's so many types of buildings, you can't account for everything.
I don't. When you guys are tracking the incidents, do you guys have a certain tool or resource that you use when it does cross those lines and it sends off those reports or those incidents? Or is it just you guys kind of monitor it and then you guys input the ticket when
So
it's in
we
process?
get, depending on which part we're talking about, we get a lot of the information is automated. So the parameters for the fire are automated. They come over every time. The whole process starts though with a manual turning of a zone from a normal status where nothing's happening to evacuation or evacuation warning. And then that triggers the scripts to do those counts. That script runs every 15 minutes in the background and will do those counts. Even when nothing's happening, it's still running right now. It is still running even though nothing's going on in the county. So it'll just check for somebody changing a status, and in the next 15-minute interval, it'll rerun the script to get us those new numbers each time.
So it still takes actually.
It takes somebody starting the process of saying something is going active because somebody has to decide that we are going to evacuate. That still has to be done either, usually by CAL FIRE, but depending on the situation, it could be us or EMD. Somebody has to decide we're evacuating to start it. That just has to be a manual decision.
So if it does cross a line or it does cross geofence lines, then basically someone's monitoring that to then input into a script.
We will track, all of our stuff tracks the whole full county, not just jurisdictional lines.
Yeah.
But it would be up to somebody to notify somebody in another jurisdiction if those things are changing.
Okay. Copy. Thank you.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Josiah Gonzalez. Amazing presentation. My one question that I have for you is, how does one get the data from specific areas? Is it by surveys, or how do you guys get the data for that?
Depends on which data we're talking about. Address points, I manage, well, the county also manages, RCIT manages a data set, but I manage a 911 specific address data set.
Yeah.
And part of it is I duplicate their data and add information that we require. But then I also get that information directly from the cities. Basically every day I get an email saying we're adding a new address and I have to add that in. Other ones, it depends. So like critical infrastructure, I try to go to the source for that.
Yes, sir.
So I try to go to like California School, can't remember the full California Department of Education, and get a source layer directly from them that gets updated, so that stays updated consistently.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like I said, it really depends on which layer of information you're looking for. Where
So
I'm gonna
when
get it from.
duplicating information, have you ever run into the issue of maybe human error?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. And it happens
some
all
of
the
these
time,
data sets are so big and have to be maintained over time that you're going to assume that some amount of errors happen.
So how do you guys minimize that risk?
We do QC, QA validation checks,
Okay.
that type of thing.
Thank you for your answers. I appreciate it. Thank you for answering my questions as well.
Yep.
Hi, Chase. Thank you. Great presentation. My question is really based off curiosity. Are we currently deploying drones for like fleeing suspects and monitoring using GIS tools or any sort of data relating to that?
The county is not. I believe the city of Moreno Valley is, and we contract with them, but none of our county areas are, to my knowledge.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chase. And we do have a gift bag for you, so thank you very much for your presentation. Thanks. Oh, Chase, let's get a picture real quick. All right. So next we have Professor Nick Barth and Jose Hernandez. So Professor Nick Barth is with UC Riverside, and Jose Hernandez is our own from RCIT GIS. So Professor Nick Barth from University of California, Riverside, and Jose Hernandez from Riverside County IT. Professor Barth is an associate professor of geology at UC Riverside. His expertise includes using airborne LiDAR to study active faults, landslides, and even ancient Mayan cities. With over 2 decades of GIS experience, he's passionate about leveraging geospatial tools for field research and serves his community through the Riverside County Parks Foundation and Riverside Parks District Advisory Commission. Jose Hernandez is a GIS analyst with Riverside County IT, where he develops and maintains maps, web applications, and field mapping solutions for multiple county departments. His GIS journey began in high school and grew through roles within California Geological Survey and the Register of Voters in both Orange and Riverside counties. Please welcome Professor Nick Barth and Jose Hernandez.
Good morning. I'm going to start us off, and then I'm going to pass it over to Professor Nick Barth. He has some pretty cool, interesting projects he's been working on, so I'll try to wrap this up real quick so I can give him some time. So today we're going to talk about field maps and then collaborating within field maps for your GIS solutions. So what field maps is, it allows you, it's an Esri product that allows you to go into the field and go out and map using your phone. So I'm assuming everybody in here, or most people in here, have a phone that has GPS connection. That allows you to go into the field and then go out and map certain anything that you want to map out. So for example, I'm going to talk about 2 different projects right now. So one of them is trees, and then one of them is asset collection. And then what's cool about field maps is that once you're out in the field, you could also have somebody out in their office. So there's kind of that integration with out in the field and also within the office. So how I was talking about, so we have Rivco Parks here. They have some pretty cool projects. One of these is the tree incident reports. So before this, they kept tree incidents through kind of paper and then phone calls. But with field maps, that allows us to efficiently collect tree incidents. So right here on the screen, we see what field maps is on the phone. So they go out there, if something happened to a tree, they go out and collect that information, and that sends it over to whoever needs that information at that time. And what's cool about kind of that Esri solution is that using Power Automate, once they send out that field maps incident, we use Power Automate to send out email notifications. Once those email notifications are sent out and they're opened, whoever opens them could see on the dashboard what incident it was, the severity of it, and then they could then dispatch proper people to take care of that incident. Another one is our asset inventory project. So it's kind of a similar thing. FM used to keep information in paper kind of form. So what they wanted to do is kind of streamline that information. Then using field maps, they could go out into the field, collect a certain asset. Maybe it's a door, maybe it's one of these lights. They kind of have a way to keep track of where everything's at. And then this also allows anybody that needs to go and service these assets, they kind of have a way to find these assets within a building. And then I'll just go into field maps real quick again. They have smart forms, and these smart forms allow you to tailor, to further tailor them out. So for example, if they have one layer with just electrical equipment, they could choose a light, and then the form would then only show fields that require that asset's information. So smart forms are pretty cool. And then the next one that Professor Barth is going to talk about is the Box Springs Mountain Reserve signage project using field maps. So I'll hand it over to him.
Great. Yeah, I'll talk about a couple use cases for this app that Jose introduced. So here you can see the three main open spaces that we have surrounding us here in downtown Riverside. And I'll be talking about a project I'm working on in conjunction with Riverside County Parks and Open Space District in the Box Springs. And so in particular, the two relevant trails are the one in blue and the one in yellow. And so we're developing signage for those. So they have a grant to produce 16 new interpretive signs along these two different trails, about a quarter-mile spacing. These are some examples that we might have on the right, as well as additional signs for trailheads, trail junctions, and also marking hazards, so poison oak being a relevant example. And so we used this Field Maps app that I mentioned. We set up a shared map so that we could have multiple users in the field collecting data. All that gets sent to a map in the cloud that we can then access later. So it allowed solo field data collection after we kind of right, so let me back up. So we set up the base maps we wanted, the trail networks that we wanted. We set up a collection form so that the users in the field could decide, is this a interpretive sign location, a sorted note, that sort of thing. And then we got everybody to join that map. We then went to the field, multiple of us in different groups or solo, and we were able to take detailed notes marking our route and suggested locations. And we could this was really effective at iterating, where one user went out and decided these areas were good and made arguments for where signs should be put, and then another user could go out and confirm, yeah, I agree, or what if we put it just over here? So takeaways, we generally found this was very efficient and successful way to go about this project. A downside was that the permissions were different between my organization, UCR, and Riverside County. And so I needed to join their organization as a volunteer in order to participate. And so I couldn't directly share my data, and so there were some kind of challenges with that I think are relevant to the next example I'll mention as well. So this is a view on the right side of this web map that we produced that has all these different points that we've marked. Each one of those little dots has a different coded feature, and on the left here is an example of the data that might be contained under that feature. And so as we went out, we would take notes, take photos and describe the direction that those photos are looking, and in some cases kind of sketch in a little sign where we imagine that would be. And the second use case that I'll spend a few more minutes on is natural disaster response mapping. And so I might be preaching to the choir here, and there's already heard some examples from the sheriff about responding to incidents. And so I'm going to talk about an example that I was involved in where maybe think big event. So it could be a earthquake or fire or flood, something like that maybe is going to involve a large area, maybe multiple counties. You have a lot of people that you're trying to coordinate. And so these are very timely. You want to collect the best data in the shortest amount of time. So there's unique personnel and data management issues in responding to a natural disaster. And the time and the resources are limited as well. After disaster, there's a critical need to collect relevant data using best practices, work together with affected communities, establish interdisciplinary teams, so scientists, engineers, crisis managers, decision makers, all kind of working together, and collaborate through crisis response and recovery, so the different steps towards getting through it. And collaboration can, in these kind of high stress situations, collaboration can be frequently hampered by cultural differences, misaligned incentives, time pressures, legal constraints. All those things can be concerns. Social tensions are going to be high. People may have lost houses and things, loved ones. And so, making the argument that a coordinated high-tech response is kind of one way of kind of helping to address this issue. And so the particular incident that I'm talking about here is the 2019 magnitude 7.1 Ridgecrest earthquake. I am a geologist, so as part of the scientific response team. This was the largest earthquake that we had in Southern California in 20 years. Despite that, thankfully, because of where it occurred, there was fairly minimal disruption. So despite the large earthquake, there was one death, about 50 homes affected in Ridgecrest, and quite a bit of damage declared by China Lake Naval Base. So the science team that I was a part of, we had 50 people collaborating from California Geologic Survey, US Geological Survey, and also several universities. And so this is a quick little before and after, kind of showing an aerial view, showing some of the damage that you can kind of see where the ground is moved laterally at this location. And this is kind of what you see when you're on the ground. So there's kind of a lot more information that we want to collect on the ground, how wide the area that fractured and broke and ruptured. And because this was very minimal loss of life and kind of general disturbance, it's a good opportunity for us to collect as much science data as possible. So we really jumped on that opportunity. And so what I'll do is I'll show you a couple examples of, these are satellite products that that you can produce, where you have a before satellite image of optical image, so like a satellite photo, before and after, and you can actually pixel track those and find where the pixels have moved and basically work out how things have deformed. And so you end up with a map like this. So this is something that can be produced right after a satellite makes a return visit after the event. And this is one of several examples of things that we can use to take with us into the field to then field verify whether these features are real or explained in some other ways. And this is another crazy one of those examples where we have a satellite radar image before and after. And long story short, the closer those lines are together, the more deformed it is, and we can use this to kind of help guide where to look for damage in the field. So these are examples of things that we had preloaded and accessible before we went to the field. So we had a GIS technician that developed the map, set everything up, set up a pre-made form. This is the view that you get, and you click on the little plus and it pulls up a whole menu of things. Not quite sure what happened there. And this was, overall, this incident or this response was very successful, and that we were able to coordinate 50 people. We could also have an external survey grade GPS that Bluetooth to our tablets and phones. And so that was quite effective as well for getting survey grade details. We found that the form needed to be updated multiple times and kind of learn lessons along the way, such as it's actually really helpful to have a point that says we were here and didn't find anything. We didn't think to do that beforehand. And so that was something that was added later. This app is particularly battery draining, and so we needed to have external batteries and kind of charge up on lunches, so that was a little bit of a downside. The reception out here was pretty poor, which means that the data didn't always get populated to the map right away, so you couldn't always see what the other groups were doing at the same time. And to some extent, it was kind of too much data, so finding ways to kind of prioritize what's the most important and then kind of less important data would have been helpful for the workers in the field to be most effective. So just a couple views showing the detail of where we can pinpoint locations and fill out these forms, add photos and any other attachments that we wanted to along the way. So quite detailed. We didn't always find all of the different categories to be relevant. Okay, so to summarize, Jose and I presented several use cases of using this Esri product, field maps, as a really effective tool for collaboration. It's particularly effective at working between multiple organizations, as long as you have kind of permissions and things set out ahead of time. Allowed us to get survey quality location data. And it's possible to live sync that data if you have a cellular connection, so you can see what other teams are doing in the field at the same time. Some of these downsides I mentioned, like significant battery drain, office IT is kind of in control, and the field crew kind of is limited by the form, the way it's set up. And then lastly, just a plug to plan before the disaster, identifying users and making sure that they have access before is going to make it a lot easier to respond. Decide on levels of data sharing, develop effective forms and web maps, and then also consider they have an extra option that they've recently added where you can actually live share locations, which again could be helpful for coordinating teams in the field. So on behalf of Jose and I'll leave it there. Thank you. I killed most of the time.
Let's open it up for a couple questions. We got some time for questions before we jump into the raffle, which hopefully everyone in here has a raffle ticket. Everyone should have a raffle ticket. Any questions for Professor?
Quick question. In the case of a natural disaster, how long does it take to identify an observation area and then also study an observation area?
Do you mean on the ground or?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so we, again, had these tools ahead of time, these satellite images that kind of gave us a pretty good guess of where to go, but not always at the detail that we wanted. And so it was one of those things we would generally go to the approximate area and then maybe walk transects to try and identify the features that we'd be interested in. So I imagine in a more urban situation, it'd be similar, where you're just kind of walking street grids to try and efficiently kind of sweep through an area to make the observations you want. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I saw that the location sharing is critical for coordinate field trip. Will that the new phones like iPhones has like a satellite signals that can be better used to provide support? I remember recently, I think Elon Musk is working with a lot of other cell phone makers, want to try to get the I forget the satellite link something. I think that will help to, Starlink, the Starlink, and to integrate with the cell phones. I hope that will get to the location sharing to better support the coordinates. Yeah, and my question is more related to for the field map, and you mentioned that the battery issue. Is that battery issue is majorly for your phone or for other devices?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
I mean, you mentioned that the battery draining is very fast. Is that for your phone or for other devices you used in the field?
My personal experience is that the Field Maps app drains batteries faster than any other app I've used. I could run, a full video, just playing on my phone, and it'll not drain quite as fast. And then the other consideration too is, in the field, you want your screen brightness to max usually. And so that, there are other things that kind of are contributing to it. But my experience is just, I think the way the app is trying to do a lot of things in the background, it's not very battery efficient.
One possibility is that since usually when you go to the field, there's a very weak signals, and the phone try to collect, so it drains a lot of the power. So maybe if you go to the very wild areas, you may want to, there's no signal or weak signal, just turn it off, and then you may save some power, so power saving. Just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so I glossed over it, but one nice feature that the app does have is you can prepare an offline map area before.
Oh, okay.
And then all the data gets saved to your phone. It doesn't make any attempt to try and upload it. And then at the end of the day, if you're back at your motel room or wherever, then you have an opportunity to upload it. So you just don't get the nice live sharing. You can see where people are and, oh, that group is moving this direction. We can respond and move this way. But it still does work very effectively offline. You just don't get that immediate satisfaction until later.
I see. Thank you.
Yep.
So in terms for your data collection, have you ever used LiDAR? And if so, how accurate is that?
I use LiDAR a lot. It's one of the main things I do with my research. It depends. The LiDAR can be extremely accurate, I would say. It depends on how well it's referenced and who you're getting it from and, a whole number of things. But yeah, if you have LiDAR, in a lot of cases, you have resolution where you have a pixel that's like this size and you can see the exact spot. And when I have a LiDAR base map, in a lot of cases, I will use the LiDAR and I will override my GPS and say, the GPS says I'm in this window, but I'm actually right there. And so it's extremely accurate in a lot of cases.
Thank you.
So maybe tell the students what LiDAR is. I don't know if everyone knows what that is.
Yeah, I think I saw maybe some drone-mounted ones if you see a drone that has a nice little thing on the bottom in the hallway, it might be a LiDAR sensor. But it's effectively a laser scanner. You can strap them to the other side of planes and survey very large areas, or to a drone to survey a small area, or put it on a tripod and survey even smaller area, something the size of this room. And so yeah, it's a laser scanner, and the really useful thing for people like me, like geologists, is that it bounces when you fly it in a plane, it flies over a whole landscape. You can remove all the points except the lowest points, and then so it's like virtually deforesting an entire landscape, and you can get very high resolution detail of the ground features. Very useful for city planning and things like that as well.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
So we do have something for you, for both of you. Bag for both of you. So thank you very much for presenting.
Thank you.
And we'd like to get a little picture before you take off. So thank you very much. All right. So we're jumping into our raffle. Before we jump into the official ticket polling and reading the numbers, we do have some items that we're going to give away off of questions from the crowd. So you got to be in here to receive the prize. So we have our first item. We have a book donated by Esri, Mapping the Nation. We also have a Starbucks gift card. So this goes out to the high schoolers in the room. If you can answer this question, you get a book and you get a Starbucks gift card. So we'll see if you guys can answer some trivia about Riverside County. So in 1905, a lake was formed in the eastern part of Riverside County. Does anyone know what that lake name is? If you know and you're a high school student, raise your hand and you could see if you can win this prize. Large body of water in the eastern part of Riverside County. In the back. Lake Paris, and not Lake Paris, further east, over here. Salton Sea, that's it. Come on up. Come on up. Congratulations, you're good. Good job. From Canyon Springs, River Valley.
Yep. Want to do a raffle?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we're getting, can we do the announce before they come in the brackets?
All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. We will be announcing the raffle winners for this break time. You must be present to win. You must be present to win, so please feel free to work your way inside the board chamber. And we will be announcing the first raffle ticket. A winner, the last 3 digits of your red ticket, 001.
Are you 001? Come on up.
Thank you.
Look at the camera over there. Get a picture real quick. And what high school? What high school are you with?
Canyon Springs.
Canyon Springs. What's your name?
Dominic.
All right.
Dominic.
Congratulations, Dominic.
Canyon Springs is representing. All right.
We'll mix these up a little bit.
Next ticket. 002.
All right.
I'm just going to take a wild guess. Canyon Springs. Okay.
There is some good stuff in this bag, not just a book. There's some, I see a water container, a hat. I need some cool stuff. Thank you very much.
Get a quick
Canyon
picture.
Springs High School also?
Yeah.
All right.
Got it. I was sitting right next to him too.
Congratulations.
Okay, next ticket. 031. Okay, we have a winner. What's your name? I'm sorry? Sarabi. And
Zarabi. And she's a county employee.
County
so
employee. Which
congratulations.
department? ROV, okay. Next ticket, 058. 058.
You from Canyon Springs too?
No, from the county.
Oh, for the county. Which department?
Office of Economic Development.
Oh, Office of Economic Development. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Let's get a quick photo. Thank you. Congratulations. Should we do one more? Okay. Next ticket, 035. 035. Do we have any winners for 035? Going once? Going twice? Okay. Let's move on. 059. 059. Any winners for 059? Going once? Going twice? Okay. 016. We have a winner.
You want to do one more?
Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead and do one more, and then you guys can go check out the drone demo outside. 015. Zero 15. Going once, going twice. Okay, let me pull another ticket. 048.
This one seems heavier. Just kidding. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Should we put these back in?
I'd say we could just hand out more raffle tickets.
Okay, this one I didn't announce.
All right, we're officially on break. We'll be coming back here 11:10. 11:10. So you got a little bit of time to check out the booths, and we'll be back here 11:10.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed all of the cool equipment outside and getting to know all the vendors and the booths. Our next speaker, we have Matthew Emers from Orange County Register of Voters. Please welcome Matthew. He is a GIS professional with over 26 years in GIS, representing Orange County, and over 10 years in election register of voters. Matthew has extensive experience implementing geospatial solutions that enhance public services, streamline operations, and support regional planning efforts. His work focuses on advancing data integration and collaboration across county agencies, helping improve decision-making through innovative GIS technology. Not to mention, he has also won 3 SAG Awards by Esri. So please welcome Matthew.
Hello, everyone. All right, I got 15 minutes, so we're going to cram 10 years into 15 minutes. So welcome, everyone. So, let's see here. Okay, so what is GIS? What do we do for the Register of Voters? We do a lot. So one thing, the most important thing is we want to make sure where the voters live is in the right location. So Orange County has over 900,000 addresses. They're single points. They're literally over the roof. And so we constantly add new developments, new homes on there, and we verify it with aerial photography and making sure they're literally over the roof. We're always adding new addresses because people are moving, new developments and so forth. And another thing is redistricting and precincts. So we all had an election this week. With that part is updating all the precincts to match the new congressional districts. So we'll talk about a little second. And then we make a lot of maps for the county and for candidates and for the public. And of course, map requests. So let me get you going with this. What is GIS? How does this relate to elections? So basically, we got an aerial photo. And then basically you have all the street maps that come with it. Actually, make this a little faster in here. And then, sorry, this one comes back. The city starts to break up by the city level, and they have sub-districts. So you start hearing council members, council 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth from that, even with school districts. So that's the council districts. Then you got school districts, water districts, fire districts, sanitation, any kind of district will come in. Those are boundaries that we use for elections. You start applying all these together, and you start using GIS, and you start creating this thing called a precinct. And the precinct really defines what makes up all these different districts with it. And everyone lives in a precinct in a county, and across the whole California in a sense. And that precinct is unique of itself. Okay, so you can't get 2 precincts. If there's too many people, we have to split it. But most likely, all the precincts are unique in its own way. And so at that point, you start getting this range of what's happening with your ballot types. So, and with that, that's kind of the layers with precincts and with boundaries. And I'll show you an example more. Over the years, ballot types have definitely changed. Almost 10 years ago, everything was like this: vote for your congressperson or vote for your city council person. They're at large. Then they went to sub-districts, and now everything has gotten a lot more detailed. So probably now in the presidential election, we had over 550 different ballot types. So you could have neighbors having a different ballot type based on where the boundaries are cut. So it's kind of important. Everyone's ballot could be different. It's not this one ballot for the whole county or the whole city. So just kind of a chart of how things change over time. And then we're talking about geocoding. This is the single point address. Back in the days, it was a range. You would have a range from the 100 block, the 200 blocks. At this point, it's a single point. It's a single point that you couldn't put another address in there. So we do get voters that try to sneak in an address, and we have to communicate with them saying, okay, we have these 2 addresses. There's no third address between 2 homes. So we verify with Google Maps, aerial photography, parcels, assessors, and so forth. And so you can see we brought a lot of addresses in. And then this is what the map would look like. A single point is you get single points literally on top of a house. So with that information, you can start doing better GIS analysis, like where the parties are, how people are voting, everything, because now it's a single point versus a range. A range could have up to 10 addresses to 100 addresses, but now we can get a single point of where every points are. Okay, redistricting. This is the most exciting point. It's going to happen in the next month and a half. The state voted on it. They're still counting the ballots. It's going to take another month for every county to certify the election. But once it gets certified by December the 2nd, then we have to redraw the maps. And we have to get it all ready for the primary election. But we only have 2 weeks to do it. So, fun times. Because why 2 weeks? On December 19th, candidates can come in and start getting signatures for their candidates. So you have to get so many signatures to become a congressional district. So this is why we have to get it done in 2 weeks. So fun times. But what is redistricting? So this is an example of the 2022. We had to redistrict a lot of things, from congressional districts to state assembly, Senate districts, Board of Supervisors, Board of Education, down to cities and so forth. It was a big project. It took us the whole summer to get it done. We only have to do congressional districts in 2 weeks, so we're going to do it. And once you redo it, you have new precincts. So what is redistricting? Here's a small example. San Juan Capistrano, they went from city at large to sub-districts. We have all these precincts. They came in here and said, now we're going to have 5 districts for each council member. You have to live in that council district to vote for that council member. So when we're done with it, basically it breaks up and you have to cut these new precincts. Now, we don't make the boundaries. They give us the boundaries. We draw the precincts to match the boundaries. So if there's ever an issue, always take it up with the district that owns the boundaries. Especially with redistricting. We didn't have control over that. This is a quick change of how many people, how their ballot's different. In Orange County, we are basically going from a 6 district for congressional to an 8 district. So new numbers. About 50% of the people will have a new number in Orange County. I don't know what's going on in Riverside, but there is change. I mean, 50% of the people are going to have a new number for the June election. And we actually have a website that you can see the difference. Some of it spills over to Orange Riverside, so you can use it too. I cut the boundaries so you can't go too far. Sorry. Okay, what other things we do? We provide a lot of maps. So we used to get phone calls, make a map, so we decided to make all the maps available for the public to download. We have over 600 maps on our website. They're all PDFs. You can download a district of from city level to sub-districts, but they're all there for the public to do. We also have all the GIS layers for you guys to download so you guys can get them. But basically, we just make it all very transparent for the public can get this information. And then we can also order maps. I'll zip through this real quick because we'll have short time. So the next thing we do is we have multiple websites to find. So you could type in your address and find what district you're in for the public. It's very important. We want to make sure that it's transparent for you guys to see where you guys are living, and from there on. It also helps candidates when they want to get signatures, they know where to get the signatures from too. Another thing is we actually post the election results every night until it's done. Basically, you can go in there and find out how the election was happening in your neighborhood and see how many votes in that area happened. Okay, so for the election, we capture the logistics from that real quick. So when we have the ballot box, we have a team out there there's 10 teams going to 125 sites, 28 sites, and we're tracking them where they're going, what's there. We take pictures, what's happening at the site. So we're basically going from a GIS to a logistics tracking system. So we know how fast they're going, what phone strength is happening on the phone. We tell them to plug the phone in. We tell them don't leave the site until they take this picture and that picture. But we track everything. It's all recorded. We have it for us to use for if there's an issue. But the point thing is about being transparent and also knowing what's out there in the field. On election night or the 11 days, everything from the vote center comes back every night. We track that. And of course, people didn't like our drop boxes, so we made a website for all the blue boxes out there so they can use those blue boxes or the post office. But what we want to do is we want to make sure everyone has the ability to vote in different ways. Election results, these are daily stats of how many voters are in our county, broken down by districts, by party, by age. So it helps, the candidates to see who their constituents for that area. Okay, any other questions? I know I'm running out of time. I got more slides. No questions? Okay. Here's some pictures of them out in the field. We use an app called Survey 123. It's a phenomenal site. It works with Esri. It ties it into the dashboard. We also can see how fast they're going down the streets. We have a dashboard to see the results for the day. And then on election night for the 11 days, we have more apps that track the different types of bags that are coming back every day, every night. And of course, all this information is live. We can see it, and we can deal with an issue right away. And then we even use it for security warehouse. And let me see. Stats, even supplies. We use it for everything. So I always say, give me data, I will map it out for you. A fun fact, all those ballot boxes you see out there have to be closed at 8 o'clock. So we track that the boxes close at 8 and that we got the keys back. Any questions? Yes. I don't know what Riverside's doing, but I'll let them answer. But we are kind of leading the charge in what we can do. I'm always pushing the envelope with Esri. We got an award for that because we're always doing new things. One thing we're doing this year that we didn't do is we made all our maps have in multiple languages. So when you want to find your vote center, it had in our 4 languages, or the 4 languages for Orange County. Every county has different language requirements, but we made the map in that language. So you can pick between Chinese, Spanish, Korean, and Vietnamese. So that was the big thing I'm pushing this year is language transparency. I have other ideas for 2016 or 2026, but I got to get management to approve it, but that's the whole thing. There's always ideas how to do something new. But I mean, like Riverside, they're doing a lot of things too. So you can ask them that question. Yeah. Any other questions? And, I always say vote. I don't care. Just vote, Yeah. Are we good? Yeah. Thank you. I have a booth outside. Oh, there's a picture.
Yeah. Thank you. Interesting stuff. Okay, our next presenter is from Esri. We have Fernando Alvarez. Please join me in welcoming Fernando. He is a solution engineer at Esri and a professor at Diablo Valley College, where he teaches Introduction to GIS. Fernando holds degrees in geography and geospatial technology and extensive experience applying GIS across local government sectors. Before joining Esri, he supported GIS programs for the city of Palm Springs and San Bernardino County, improving city planning, infrastructure management, and data-driven decision-making. Fernando's GIS journey began in the U.S. Army, where he used geospatial technology to support humanitarian and intelligence operations. Welcome, Fernando.
All right. How's everyone doing today? Good? Yeah? All right, we'll be talking about AI in ArcGIS and how it transforms workflow. So My name is Fernando Alvarez. I'm a solution engineer. Esri, for those who don't know what a solution engineer is, we help people who use GIS technology, and we help them on their journey to like best practices and help them innovate and lead them on that journey. And so today, I know some of you may be hearing AI for the first time, and then some of you have been hearing AI for the past couple of years nonstop. So I really want to catch you, the ones that haven't heard about AI, up, and why we use AI, as well as how do we get started with AI using ArcGIS, and then also discuss a future roadmap. So question to the audience here: how many of you have one of these? Yeah. Okay. Okay. For some of you that didn't raise your hands, maybe you didn't know what you're looking at. It's actually a human brain. So the thing about human brains is what I find fascinating about it is the human brain. We have 86 billion neurons, and then more trillion more connections to the neurons. Our sensory, like feeling, touch, smell, we can process 11 million bits per second of that information. And then for me to really think about consciously, like what I'm about to say to you at this moment, takes me about 40 bits per second to think about that. And then to compare that to like our latest like CPUs that we have out there, like our Core i7s, they can compute 6 trillion times more faster than we can. Not to put our brains to shame, but we've done some pretty cool things over the last 100 years with just these brains of ours. You know, we've done advancements in space, information technology, like fiber, putting the man on the moon, developed new medicines to treat untreatable illnesses that we can treat today. We've made renewable energy more efficient than it has in the past. Then the dawn of the internet, as well as our smartphones. I'm sure many of you have smartphones in your pocket or in your hand at this moment. And then as a foreshadowing, artificial intelligence. And then in the last decades, at least in the experience of like local government and other types of sectors, we've been seeing this like move from the analog to the static to now more of like the digital transformation. So now we're trying to get everything into these like digital media spaces and databases, and being able to consume that readily available. And in this process, whether it's through your business systems, whether things that just happen, like whether it's crime or maybe a car accident or something, that those data points, whether you have workers out there in the public creating new data, or maybe flying drones out there, they're creating this massive amount of data out there. And because of that, we have this ocean of data and these oceans of business systems, and try navigating endless amounts of data with all these systems. It can be very hard to do. And I think this is where I think the USS AI can really help us swim in this ocean of data. And so why AI? Back to that slide, we're going through this digital transformation, and a lot of us are using ArcGIS to help us in this transition. So we're using desktop, server software, cloud technologies, as well as mobile applications to do analysis, integrate with databases, as well as data workflows like for our operations out there. And then as well as using ArcGIS to get that system of insight, like a dashboard or something. And so where does AI fit in all of this? So with AI in ArcGIS, there's things that you can do, which is like extracting deep insights, assisting in your workflows, reduce human errors, make predictions, as well as automate routine tasks, and as well as develop skills. And so at Esri, we built this AI framework. So this framework, it's composed of services, pre-trained models, LLMs, and on that we built GeoAI and our AI assistants. And so now that I caught you up to speed, how do we get started with AI in ArcGIS? So let's start with GeoAI. So GeoAI, it's a culmination of tools and models that allow you to extract features and conduct analysis. So some of those would be like extracting pools, for example. So let's say you're a city official and you want to see what has changed, or maybe you're trying to see who's maybe building a unpermitted pool. So you can use imagery, run a change detection, and then maybe also detect maybe pools that are out there. You can do land classification as well to make sure that maybe open land hasn't been built over time. As well as vector forecasting models. I believe we have 5 to 7 forecasting models built into our tools, so this doesn't always have to be spatial. It can also be used on tabular data as well. It takes the time component into effect, and then it is able to forecast ahead of time. So there's ways that you can build your own AI models, which is not easy. And let me tell you a story. So I tried to build a deep learning model that identifies vehicles by their make and model. So I went out to the Esri parking lot and I started taking pictures of cars out in the parking lot, and people thought I was a weirdo. And so I came back, tried to build this deep learning model, and I was unsuccessful. And I retweaked it, went back out, tried it out, and it didn't work out. So then I reached out to our product team and I said, hey, this model I built is not working. Why is it? And they said, well, how many images are you using? Oh, I'm just using a couple hundred. And they're like, yeah, you need hundreds and thousands of images to train a model. So I was like, okay, I don't think I have enough time to do that. So, the reason I told you that story is because we have a lot of pre-trained models available on ArcGIS Online, or out throughout ArcGIS, actually, where you can do a lot of like car detection. You can detect solar panels, like using our segment anything model. So let's say maybe it's not pools or cars that you're looking for. Maybe it's something recent that's more popular is like tree canopies. A lot of shade analysis is becoming more popular. People want so you can use the AI model to detect tree canopies and see how much shade is being cast over in a certain area. And then I can go through this whole entire list, but there's just so much, so little time to do so. And so where it's available in ArcGIS, it's available in both ArcGIS Online, which is our cloud-based offering, and then our ArcGIS Enterprise, which is our server software. It's available also ArcGIS Pro, which is like your desktop software, and you can run those tools manually. And then on our Living Atlas, available on ArcGIS Online, you have access to those pre-trained models. And then for those, I don't want to call them geo geeks or geo gurus, I think is a good word. For the geo gurus who are into Python coding, you can bring in your own custom code and build your own models to do so. So as far as AI assistance, we have right now 2 available AI assistants, and while they might not seem like much, I'm really excited that I think 2026 is going to be a really great year, especially with our AI assistants. Currently, we have a business analyst and Survey 123. So business analyst is a tool that allows you to get demographic data, also, let's say, sales, marketing type of data, as well as also health data as well. And for what makes this application really great to use is that you don't have to be a GIS expert to use this. So if, let's say, you're someone that's not in a GIS position and you want to know where are the most populated areas in California or Riverside County. And here's a very speedy example where you can do that. You can type it in, say, hey, I would like to get all the most populated areas in California. And And you can come to the booth and I can show you, do this too, and it takes literally less than 30 seconds to do so. You can hold me to that too. Then we have Survey 123, which is like a mobile app. So it allows you to go collect information. It's more form-based. We do have another app, I think you heard of it. It was Field Maps, which was more map-centric than form. So we have an assistant. So let's say you're working for a fire department and they would like you to create a workflow that inspects fire hydrants, and you don't really know too many things about fire hydrants. So you can use the assistant and type in, make me a industry standard fire hydrant inspection form. So it will create that for you, and now you have something that you can start off. So it may not be the final answer, but you can tweak it to your needs. And then, as well as we have a translation built in to assist you with surveys. A lot of organizations like to send out surveys and people take them, but sometimes they're in English and some of them are not English speakers naturally. So you have the ability to interchange different languages as well to help you fine-tune your languages if needed. So you can go from hello, my name is Fernando Alvarez, to hola, mi nombre es Fernando, to 안녕하세요, 저는 Fernando입니다. So that's Korean. Thanks to my wife, she's Korean, so I just like to speak Korean sometimes. So yeah, so there's quite a bit of value in there in being able to communicate, interact with the public or other people that you normally get to reach because of language as the barrier. And so you can access AI assistants both in ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Survey 123, and the business analyst that I spoke to earlier. And so here's our release plan. As you can see, 2026 I'm really excited because a lot of our AI assistants that are currently in beta are essentially going to be for the general release. And the list gets larger and larger as the year goes on. So please stay tuned. And then that's for ArcGIS Online. And then we have one for ArcGIS Enterprise as well. And before I end this, I want to leave this with a quote. So AI lies not in its conclusions, but in the past that it helps us discover. So thank you. And if there's any questions, please reach out. Got a question? Sorry, I couldn't hear you well.
You talked about train the AI. My question is how to staff up to get the AI trained to recognize the machine learning.
Are you mentioning on how to leverage the AI tools?
Yeah.
So we have some training courses on our Esri website, like Esri Academy. They have tutorials on how to use those AI tools within, like let's say ArcGIS Pro or ArcGIS Online. Does that answer your question?
Not exactly.
Okay, we can talk after. Yeah. Yeah.
So when using AI, what are some of the challenges that you foresee?
I would say when you first and I think when I left it at that quote, when you get a result, it's not always the final answer. You just have to make sure that you check your work with AI, because sometimes it can generate things like an error or maybe something wrong. So that's why we still require subject matter experts to know when they're working with AI that if they're getting the right result or not. Yep, question in the back.
Good morning, my name is Josiah. I would just like to say, amazing presentation. My question is, how do you minimize failures in AI?
Yeah, So I can speak to our deep learning packages and models. So you can use our models as they are, or you can take them with you to, like, let's say ArcGIS Pro, and you can additionally add more, train it with more of your data that's more tailored to like your specific needs. It may take some time, but we definitely do have the tools for you to expand and make them more reliable as time goes forward.
So how does AI get that data?
AI,
well, obviously you input it, but I mean, like, how do you, yeah, what you said, how do you provide it specifically?
So what you would do is you can either, depends on what you're working on. So if you're working on your desktop, it's going to be running off data that's either locally on your machine, or it's going to be somewhere stored up on a server, and you'll ingest those data, run those tools, or you can get that data, publish it to either your server or your ArcGIS Online, and we have tools already built into those environments to run some of those AI tools.
Thank you for your answers. I appreciate that.
Quick question. I think everyone's scared that AI is going to take our jobs in the future. Do you see it happening in your field, like for AI to get so smart that it's just going to take over and like we're not going to need humans?
Yeah, it's a question, I think, because even some of my students have asked that too, and it's a tough question because there's a lot of efficiency that AI helps build, and normally I think a lot of entry level positions would help facilitate that, but I don't think in the near term, I would say in the next like 5 to 10 years that analysts or database GIS administrators or managers will go away. I think those positions still be available because as we know today, AI still produces errors, and we still need subject matter experts to interpret those results.
Two questions. I'm sorry. Two questions. What is the difference between the ArcGIS and the Pro?
ArcGIS. So if you think of ArcGIS, think of it as like a package, and within that package, you have ArcGIS Pro, which is built for desktop, your desktop computer, and then you have ArcGIS Online, which is built for your web browser. And then you have ArcGIS Enterprise, which is built for your servers that you would host locally on your premise.
And is there a paid subscription?
Yes, yeah. So you would pay for ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Online Enterprise. There are evaluations. So if you haven't touched like ArcGIS Pro, there are trial versions of it that you can use to play around with it.
Piggyback off of what Natalia said, what are some positions or jobs that AI has helped created, in your opinion, instead of taking away?
That's a great question.
Because I've seen some podcasts and things like that, and CEOs from OpenAI has said before, AI will help create jobs and positions and things like that. I just want to understand, in your opinion, since you are an industry professional, what are some of those jobs?
I still think it's developing. I don't think we've realized the gains in AI jobs for that, because I think it's still too early, because I think we're just like getting at we're not at the crest yet. We're not at the peak yet. I think we're just starting. And I want to say this still requires subject matter experts, I think, at the end of the day, to make sure that AI is being trained properly, that it's producing reliable results, as well as make sure the results are being interpreted accurately.
And thank you. As I have a follow-up question, we have some high school students here. What are some actions that they could take to better prepare themselves to eventually get a job or a career and not in a position that could be possibly replaced by AI? What are some of the career recommendations that you have, or what are some of the training opportunities that they can get in terms of using AI?
Yeah. So a couple things. I aside from like using our Esri Academy, I highly recommend students to keep learning. Whether that's you might be in a go to the 4-year, but community colleges offer GIS courses, and those tend to be a lot more cheaper, and they're just as effective as the 4-year classes as well. So learn Python, SQL, as well as being able to understand like people's needs. I think that really comes important because when someone comes with you an issue and they think they want GIS to solve it, really understanding the needs of what they're requesting, I think it goes a long way. And then it's also knowing people as well, going to conferences, networking is very important as well. So yeah, so I think we have.
Thank you.
What are some classes or courses that we can take, like for those that are in public health, in a public health field?
Public health field.
Connecting, I mean, and relating with GIS.
Sorry?
With GIS, I mean, what are like some classes or courses that public health employees can take to advance their learning in GIS?
Yeah. Where are you from exactly, or
Public health. Public health.
Public health, Riverside County.
Yes.
Yeah. So the person that you might want to talk to is actually right there on your right, Natalie. She represents Riverside County, and she can help you with some of like the training to help you better support public health. And I think our time is up as I'm getting the sign up. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Ken Wen from the University of California, Riverside. Ken's research and professional work center on using GIS and spatial analytics to address complex challenges in environmental science and urban development. His innovative approach to integrating spatial data and modeling tools helps bridge academic research with practical, real-world applications that benefit both students and the community. In addition to his teaching and research, Ken has been working for Riverside County for almost 20 years. In his role as the assistant assessor, county clerk, and county recorder, he has spearheaded quite a few critical efforts, like to develop the modern property tax systems to replace the 40-year-old system, and to initiate an AI project to do the automatic mass appraisal by utilizing C3 AI, and also he lead the AI project to automatically detecting parcel changes in the county. We automatically detecting swimming pool additions, parcel changes, etc. Welcome, Ken.
All right, thanks for the introduction. Very happy to be here. Quick question, how many students do we have in here? All right, thank you so much. That's great. The rest of you that did not raise your hand, you have failed the pop quiz, because when it comes to technology, we're all students. We're always learning. All right, with that said, today mine is going to be a little bit different. So hopefully I tailored this a little bit more for academic side of it. So it's very conceptual. And hopefully I will get most of the students really excited about GIS. And then what it actually means. So the title of this presentation is going to be a high-level overview concept, and then we're going to start by taking you really high to outer space and look at this from that perspective. So what does this image has to do with GIS? Well, if you really look at it from all the way from space, GIS is about location. It's about object occupying a space that we can technically occupy. And yet, the space that we can occupy is finite. This is it. This is what we as human species can probably occupy, and it's going to be difficult to go beyond that. So we have limited space. And again, as humans, when we occupy space, being one of the most intelligent species around on Earth, now we not only occupy, we want to optimize. We want to make full use of this limited space that we have, which again is finite. So obviously with our intelligence, with our knowledge, with our hunger for exploration, for innovation, creative, whatever you call it, right? We're different than the ants, the goldfish in my aquarium tank. We have ways to create and to evolve and to progress. So that is the difference. So somewhere in between of our hunger for progress as humanity and species on a finite world, our biggest constraint and limitation is what? It's the space. And hence that lays the groundwork for why geography or GIS is important. So let's continue that thought process. Let's go down a little bit deeper. I created this using AI. So I stopped building my own slides. I just tell ChatGPT or Gemini what slide I want. And then, oh my God, as a professor for 15 years, this is a lifesaver. All right, so it cuts down my class presentation preparation time by at least 70%. All right, so I created this to kind of give you a slice of Earth. So let's take a look at it. So us as human beings, to occupy space, to live on this space, to live on Earth, what do we need at the fundamental level? In other words, what needs to be in that place for us to live as a human being comfortably? Well, let's go down deep into the Earth. You can see the bottom layer. We have infrastructure, right? And infrastructure is space. Even though it's beneath us, it's still a space where we can occupy. Not that you all want to go down there, but we do have professionals that do go down there, right? They lay the foundation for everything they built. And a lot of times government is involved in a lot of things of what we allow or don't allow to go into that space. Obviously, whatever we allowed, you have companies and businesses that makes their whole living off of actually making it happen, right? To occupy the space and build whatever that needs to be built in that space. So we have infrastructure, right? At the end of the day, when you flush the toilet, it goes somewhere, and you never really realize it takes up space. Something down there is actually taking care of all that. And therefore, we occupy it at the very, very fundamental level. Now let's move up. Let's move up from the infrastructure. You can see all the pipe and whatnot. And then we have the geomorphology, which is a study of the natural formation of the crust of the Earth, right? Crust meaning what? Whatever sits on there. You have water, you have trees, you have boulders, you have hills, you have grass, whatever. Those are actually still physical objects that occupy the space that usually is at the same layer that we occupy, right? How many of you have a big tree in front of your house that you kind of say, that thing's always in my way, right? And I can't plant more flowers because of that big tree, right? we wanted certain things to be in a certain place, and sometimes natural things gets in the way. So that is a study of what is available to us and what it is naturally already there occupying the space that we want to utilize. And then same thing with the topography, which means, there are things that are natural, that's occupying space like the trees and whatnot, and there's man-made stuff that we want to put in that space as well. So now you have a combination of how can I make use of a space and overcome what's natural and what I actually want to manufacture to put on top, like a house, like a business, like a building, like a electric tower, right, or a fire station, whatever you name it, right? You probably heard a lot of examples from most of the speakers earlier about various different industries. If you really, really reflect what you heard all day, everybody's talking about occupying some space and moving those objects around in space. That's where GIS comes in, all right? And then let's go a little bit higher up, right? We're not only talking about our physical space that we're grounded on, which is the crust of the earth. In the airspace, that is still space, right? How many of you seen maps on the news about airplane traveling over the United States, or how many, air traffic? That's GIS, right? That's tracking who is occupying the airspace, because you cannot have two objects occupying the exact same altitude at the same time. You're gonna run into problems, right? So GIS plays a vital role, even in the space that us as humans doesn't really necessarily think too much about. But there's a whole field of science, career, and whatnot that makes sure they have technology to help them manage that space, right? So far, so good? All right, let's journey on a little bit deeper. Not deeper, but a little bit more closer to humans. So another layered view of this to convey that looking at us as humans, as a society, one of the things that we are very unique is because we have memories, right? If we're like a goldfish that can remember more than 4 seconds, we probably will never evolve, right? So that's one of the most unique things, and I love that picture with the brain from the last speaker. I really, his presentation really segued to mine very well. So because we are developed differently, we have memories. And when you couple memories in the field of how to optimize space and how to use space and how we had used space, you have a lot of intel information about how else you can potentially use that space into the future. So because we have memory to the past, naturally with that capability of a human brain, we want to utilize what we know to make our decisions into the future. And then our brain started to form this ability to make decisions, predict, and hopefully achieve goals, which in this context, we're optimizing space. Well, that's our goal. What else can I squeeze on a single plot of land to maximize it, right? So building an environment, building a society, that's what we do, right? We are a social group of species. We interact, we participate, we talk, we come together, we disband, and we form other groups. And then along of that human pattern, occupying space, we are physical objects. So we move around. How many of you have a map GPS on your cell phone? Waze, Google Map, or Apple Map? How many of you use it quite often? Right? We use GIS to navigate our body from one place to another because, again, we have memories, we can make decisions, and we know we are constrained by space and time. We want to get to places faster, right? How many of you love to get stuck in the traffic? You don't, right? You try to find the closest route to get so you spend less time. We're optimizing things all the time. You couple the dimension of time, our intelligence, and the limited finite space, and all the humankind created obstacles. How many of you hate your street light? That you don't get why from your house to the Walmart, you have to go through 5 different streetlights, right? You hate that. And then sometimes you feel like somebody's there against you by making them all red every time you hit them, right? We all have that feeling. It's all about us as humans moving our own physical bodies through the limited space. And then we as humans also put up obstacles that actually, make it less efficient, right? And whoever that put up the streetlight and
no offense, I'm a government employee, so this is purely for academic statement. When they put up those lights, right, they have certain rules to follow. The last thing they probably will think about is your house to that Walmart, and then they just put up 5 stoplights in front of you. No, right, they don't go to that level of thinking. But we wish they would, but then technically there's no way you can optimize a society that way, right? So you can kind of see the challenge to this. We build societies, we build communities, we are a living being, we come together, we go to shopping centers, we go to coffee shops, we like commercial plazas, we zone them differently, right? We zone them as residential, as single story, light warehouse or commercial and so on and so forth. We zone them so that we can allow human society to be a little bit more optimized and efficient based on how we behave as a pattern and based on how we move as an object in space. At the end of the day, for businesses, right, that really wanted to capture the money in our pocket, they use GIS. They care about GIS. They want it for you to be convenient to go to them and spend money with them, right? And so GIS is important to small and large businesses all around. And then you can see at the high layer, I'm going to go into, theoretical, right, even farther out. Since we're running out of space, right, we have finite, and then sometimes the space we want, we just really, really cannot get. So we started to journey with technology into the virtual space. We're creating environments, map. How many of you play shooter games, since I have so many students here? Yeah, a couple of you, right? I don't know, whatever game, Fortnite. Right, we live in virtual space. And the first thing as a gamer, the GIS concept exists as well. The first thing you go into a game like that, you try to understand the virtual environment map. Because if you don't understand the map, you're not gonna do too well in those games. So the concept of GIS, the map where you are, whether or not virtually or physically, occupying space is inherent. It's everywhere, that is in every part of our life. So that's why I have the top layer to kind of tell you that it gives you that sense of just how far we're willing to take to optimize all of that. So collecting all this, what does that all mean? Just like the earlier speaker, we, at any given time, the history of Earth, something occupy a space, but none of them stays forever. We are very mobile, things evolve, things change, and we reuse the limited space. So it may be a Starbucks there, in this decade, 20 years later, it may be a hospital occupying the same space, right? So things change. So now if we're able to capture what happened every step along the way of who and what is occupying the space, and we capture all that data, that information, and we snapshot them into large databases, then we have the ability to see what worked, right, for mankind, in that space, and what didn't. And we learn, and we evolve, and we improve, and we make it better, right? Why do we choose a fire station to be at a certain location? Same thing, we learn, we understand, we know the needs, we track, we store, and we analyze, and we have the intelligence, and now we make decisions. Right? Why should we have the courthouse here? Why should we have a police station there? Why should we have a fire hydrant here? It's all came from our ability to leverage GIS technology to capture the history of it. What was occupying that space, and how does all those objects interact and relate to each other? And did it work? Why or why not? And then we make different decisions moving forward. So this is kind of my way of showing you, right? We look at object, but GIS brings in all the data points of everything we look at today. Everything you want to look at from 5 years ago in that space, or everything you want to predict of what it may be 10 years from now, GIS is the technology that will get you there. And every single business entity, including just us as people, as humans, we can't get away from using GIS because we already have. It's everywhere. It's all around us. So regardless of what profession you choose to be, GIS has a role, and you can be a contributor if you have the GIS skill set and knowledge, and you can help that business become better. All right? And that is it. That's my conclusion. Any questions? That's it? Yep, that's it. Yes?
Thank you. So my question is, what inspired you to take on this career and all of the success that you've had in the GIS world thus far?
Well, I'm going to be transparent. So GIS is one part of my responsibility at the county when I was working here as assessor at the assessor's office. I love the team. First of all, people that knows this, they're very, very exciting to work with. They know so much. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert, but from the business application of how space means operational efficiency, productivity, how to optimize, maximize for the public, that is what I think intrigues me the most. I'm not an expert to actually make it happen. I had a great team that actually make things happen as we think about this. The key thing is you thinking about it, right? Whatever career or whatever profession you're currently at, if you really walk around and you look at every single information that comes through what you do, there is a space component. There's an object moving somewhere. And your unit is involved in influencing or deciding where does it go, what time does it get there, and why did it take that long to get there, and how much did it cost because of the route, because of the object, because of the shipping. All of that come together from the business perspective. Spatial analytics is very, very important for executive team to make good decisions, and we don't have the skill set, right? We rely on the GIS team to tell us that, which many of you can have the skill. It's not difficult. So now on the other side, right, teaching. So teaching GIS is I was just fortunate enough, 3-4 years ago, UCR actually assigned me this class knowing, I do have a team and I had some experience, and I fell in love with it. So every year I've been teaching the same course and asking my team for help and guidance along the way. So I think it's more of a passion now, yeah. Questions? Yes.
It's not a question, more a comment. And I have been in GIS field for over 20 years. I never think through this much, and I only say, I just collect some data, doing some maps. I never think about to expand this. This is the spatial, this is space, and also integrate with the time, the temporal, to make it. That explains why there are so many department agencies now using GIS, because GIS is everywhere, and the GIS data is everywhere, and GIS applications everywhere. They can help. Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. It's very eye-opening and.
Yep. No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. All right. I think that's it. I think I am between you and lunch. So, all right. Thank you.
Okay, so it looks like we're at our second break. We'll be doing raffles in a few minutes, but feel free to check out all the cool equipment outside and finish checking out the booths as well. Thank you all. Or should we do it right now? Yeah, I think we should. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started with our second round of raffles. So please have your raffle tickets ready. You must be present to win. Last three numbers. 020. 020. 020. Going once, going twice. Okay, let's go ahead and pick again. 054. 054. Okay, we'll pick again. 032. 032. We need one winner from in here. Okay. 040. 040. Everyone's probably out having lunch. Okay, 040. Oops. 067. Almost. 067. Oh, okay, we have a winner. Yeah, well, we have 5. Yeah. Okay, next we'll do a book with the Starbucks gift card. Ticket number 018. 018. Do we have a winner in the back? No? 018, okay. Zero 51. 051. Going once, going twice. 051. Okay. 057. 057. Okay, everyone's probably out having lunch. 012. Okay, yeah, we have a winner. EMD?
Okay, so this one will make it somewhat maybe a little bit easier. This is more of a geographic question for the county of Riverside instead of a raffle ticket. So anyone in the room can raise their hand to answer this one if you know. So what is the geographic center of Riverside County closest to? And I'm going to give you 3 options, okay? First one, City of Riverside. Second choice, Lake Paris. Third choice, Hemet. So we got City of Riverside, Lake Paris, or Hemet. We got one right over here. Oh, let's go over there. What do you got? It's not City of Riverside. It's not Hemet. Oh, in the back, in the blonde right there. All right, you win. Come on up. So Lake Paris is near the center of Riverside County, because Riverside County is kind of a weird rectangular shape. Ready for the next speaker?
Yeah, let me just do an easy one.
Oh, we got another one.
In-N-Out gift card.
Okay, who doesn't love In-N-Out?
Okay, which company is known for creating ArcGIS? One of the most popular GIS software platforms. You guys should know this. Google, A. B, Esri. C, NASA. Or D, Microsoft. Esri, all right. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Sure, yeah. All right. Two more speakers to go. So we're wrapping up our day. It's coming to a close. But our next speaker is Wei Ming Lin. He goes by Wimmy. He also works for the Transportation Department Survey, so he's one of our fellow coworkers. Wimmy is a GIS professional specializing in spatial analysis and 3D integration, with a focus on bridging GIS and BIM technologies. And BIM stands for Building Information Modeling. This supports urban planning, asset management, and digital twin applications. He's been with TLMA Survey for 2 years and will share practical insights on integrating 3D GIS and BIM to support smarter infrastructure management. Please welcome Wimmy.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah. Thank you for coming during your lunchtime. And let's talk about 3D, the cutting edge, the technology, how to integrate with the ArcGIS and the AutoCAD. So let's give you the quick overview. So what I'm going to talk about these three parts. So the first, we might to know what the 3D GIS and the BIM. The BIM is right now talking about the 3D model that we can derive to for the ArcGIS. And the second for some application and the future use. So from here, so let's understand, let me introduce you the 3D GIS and something about the BIM. So first, you might know everywhere for the 2D GIS, for example, you may use the map, Google Map every day. But however, if you dream, if I want to know, can I see this building, CSC building, how tall it is? Or can I see the real building? So we might thinking, how about put this information on the map, into the map. So this time, we need not only for the 2D information, we also need some information about the 3D and also visualization. So for example here, This is the City College of the Riverside. So let me give you the example. From here, you can know the campus map very well. Hold on. You can see the campus building and also their information in the right side. However, you cannot rotate or you cannot know how high the building it is. And the other one, this is the Google Earth. Okay, from the Google Earth, see? I can zoom in, zoom out, or even rotate. However, it really looks like the real visualization. However, it doesn't give you any information. So you just see, okay, this is good. It looks more real. But if I want to get more information, how about what's the building name, or what's the room, or how high the building it is? No, we don't have it. So right now, we try to use the ArcGIS. So ArcGIS, this product, we can have the basic GIS function, especially for the spatial information. And also we use the AutoCAD, especially for the AutoCAD Revit. So we derive this building model, this data as a bin, and that we combine and import into ArcGIS Pro so we can see the real world in your screen. So how to make it? So first, you may see there is many 3D scanner, for example, the Trimble 3D scanner. So we scan all the information, for example, the building, this is CAC, and then they can generate the LSS file. That means the point cloud. So they generate the multiple million of the point data. So you can see here, this is outside of the CAC, and this is the inside. This is just security checkpoint. And also, so after we get this LAS, this file, we need to do something doing the processing in the AutoCAD. First, we use the recap to cut or to reduce or get the more information we need. And also we build a Revit file for the example, the IFC, just like this image. And then we put this together and import into the ArcGIS Pro. Okay, I know everybody, maybe you don't understand. So let me make it easier. So this month, the Thanksgiving Day is coming. So the main dish is what? Turkey. So for example here, the Trimble one, just like the state abroad, you should buy the turkey, chicken there. So that's the raw turkey. So when you're coming home, this raw turkey is here. And what do you need to do? Maybe you need to doing some processing. You need to cut, you need to chop. And then that's the why recap doing here. And for the Revit part, just like you put that turkey into the oven, what's the result? It's a roast turkey. And when you put on the table, that's just like in ArcGIS Pro. You put it on the table, and you will also put the other thing. For example, pumpkin soup, salad. Yeah. So let's make it easier. So let's see the next. So this one, just like the raw data, the raw turkey. And this one, we need to do some chopping, cut. And this one is after we put it in the oven, the bean data looks like this. Okay, so what the advance for this bean model? So right now you can see the building and what the interior. So that's easier, good for the spatial analysis and for the decision maker. Okay, so for the second part, sometimes you will get this information from everywhere. So first, for this one, this beam model here, when you get this data, you want to import into ArcGIS Pro because it's lack of the coordination information. So first, you need to do the georeferencing. What's the georeferencing mean? That means give the data the coordinate that they can put it in the right place. Just like if you had a turkey already cooked, that's in the oven, you have to put on the table. So georeference is talking about taking that turkey on the table, on the right place. So in the table, on the table, you need to modify the position, right? So maybe you need to move, or maybe you need to rotate, put that turkey in the right place on the table. So here, the same thing. So we need to put this 3D model in the right place, doing the georeference. So the other way, we can also editing some the building shape. For example, you can see the pink color of the building shape and compare with the blue color. Which one is more realistic? Yes, the blue one. So this is also doing some the processing. Of course, you can also get this all information just like I did. I grab this information, for example, the tree, water pipeline, this kind of information from the city of the Riverside, their portal website. So you don't have to do by yourself. Okay, this is the final result. This is the roasted turkey on the table, and with some Sarah and pumpkin soup. So let's see. So for this 3D model, we can also doing some analysis. For example, the daylight and the weather, and we can see the shadow, or we can do some line of sight, or the view shed, and even we can measure the building height in the screen. Also, we can also use this as a future application. Sorry, 10 minutes. Okay, we can integrate with this data together. For example, the top one is for the indoor navigation, and the bottom one is do the 3D architecture. So before we build this building, we can see what it looked like. And also, from now on, from the upper left, you can see this the building. You can see the distribution of the room, and the right upper side is you can see this digital twin. Can see the environment by the point lidar, and for the bottom, you can use the 3D pipeline. So if we want to put the real scene that for the bottom right, so you can combine with a real scene, and that can do some analysis. Okay, let's do some demo. If you have the mobile, you can scan this QR code. You can go with me. Get it? Okay. So you just open in the scene viewer. I see. This, do you see that? This is an overview of the Riverside downtown of Riverside. And the first, let me do this. I can do some 3D analysis, especially for the weather. Have you ever seen snowing in Riverside? It's cool, huh? Okay, let's move to the first one, the old city building hall. See, from this one, you can see the real architecture. Even, for example, this guy, I want to know who he is. I told you, Andy. Come on. Okay, you can see the information when you click it. Let me open this one, the backup one. Okay, you might see though this, so let me take off the wall. And this guy. Okay, it doesn't work here. Okay, so I mean, when you want to check any information in this building model, so for example, even the window, the chair, the desk, not only for the realistic view, but also this information is there. So it's very easy and very convenient for the decision maker or specialized analysis to make the correct and the right decision, and especially for the planning. Yeah, thank you. Any question? Yeah, true.
How long does it take you to put all this together?
Yeah, good question. The most time-consuming part is the Revit part. This part is just like that building. The building, very neat. It takes a long time. Yeah, but for the gathering the LiDAR points, that's not so hard. Yeah. So that's mean what? That's mean the preparing the turkey is not easy.
Along those same lines, so once the turkey is in the oven and you're able to scan the 3D imagery of a facility, how often are those images updated, or is it real time, like the Revit model?
Okay. For the Revit models, you mean the image?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It depends on how often you're using your 3D scanner.
Okay.
Yeah. To scan that point LiDAR data.
Thank you.
No? Okay. Any question? Okay. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Good afternoon. Our final speaker is Nathan Chen with RCIT GIS, where he has worked for the past 5 years. Nathan and the RCIT GIS team play a key role in supporting Riverside County's Housing and Workforce Solution Department with their point-in-time count, a major effort conducted every 2 years to track homeless trends. And today, Nathan will highlight how GIS is used to visualize data, identify patterns, and support informed decision-making across the county. Welcome, Nathan.
Good afternoon, everybody. So my topic, homelessness, how GIS helps us see and solve. Raise of hands, how many people know about the point-in-time count? Awesome. And those, how many have volunteered? 2. Okay, not bad. Well, this will help you understand what the point-in-time count is. So what is the point-in-time count? It is a snapshot of how many homeless are in Riverside County. It doesn't say, it's not accurate, but it's a good estimation. So in order to do that, we need to do a mandatory count. Okay. All right. Why do we do it is a good question. So by HUD, which is the Housing and Urban Development, we need to do this every 2 years so that we understand how many homeless there are. And based on how many homeless there are, it is how much money is granted to that county. So if there's a lot in, let's just say LA County versus Riverside, we might get a portion of it, but in order to get that funding, we must do the count. And also why we do it is to show where they are at. In general, we see them as we drive by, but do we see them throughout the county? And overall, every time we count them, we actually plot them on a map and we see trends. And that's important to see where to send services to in the future. How many people are homeless? That's a good question. So in 2025, in Riverside County, there's 1,978 that are unsheltered. There's a difference between unsheltered and sheltered. Unsheltered are the ones you see in encampments, on the street, in the parks. They're just sleeping there or resting there. But there's also a sheltered homelessness. Those are those people that are sheltered in emergency shelters. So they're under a roof, they have water, they're given beds, but those are also homeless people too. So we need to combine those two, and the total of unsheltered and sheltered is 3,990. And to give you a comparison, LA County has this year 70,000. And so we're a fraction of it, but still, we gotta keep count of them. And to count, we do 4 phases using GIS. One is coordinating. Number 2 is using mobile units. Number 3, we give it a nickname, is command center. Command center is where we have a little dashboard and we keep track of all the counts that come in so that we know which areas are covered and just to see in general where the population is and if the surveys are going through or not. And that 4th item that we use GIS for, deduplicating. This is the cleaning up process. And I'll explain all 4 of these after this slide. Coordinating. So we coordinate, and I say we, I work with HWS. We make maps and we have a printout of which areas are covered, city by city. So they know they're not supposed to go outside of it, and outside of those boundaries, we have communities, we have law enforcement, volunteers know where to stop counting. And so that's a huge coordination process. So there's no overlap. As you can see, if there's overlap, there's duplicating and counting. And so number 2, we use Survey 123. If everyone has been talking about it. We use our phones to collect. And so they're out in the fields, they're putting in the point of where they're collected. At the same time, they're asking homeless individuals if they want to be surveyed. And these surveys have questions of their demographics, male, female, age, are you receiving health insurance? All these information gets collected so that we have a better understanding of our homelessness population. In the end, we also have in the background where something's called a webhook, where if someone was to say, hey, I need direct assistance, that webhook will send a email out to the service directly, automatically, and say, hey, there's an individual here, we have a plot on the map, and they need services. So that's part of Survey 123. That's the power of it. And when I say command center, they use this dashboard application. Don't take this number by heart. This is what happened is before the duplicating process. As you can see, there's 2,287, which is different from what I said earlier. This is when the data comes in, we haven't scrubbed it, all the data coming in, and we can see it pop up on the map as people are submitting their surveys. As you can see on the top right portion of it, there's bar charts, graphs, and these are all interactable. So if you clicked on one that says, I want to know where all the males are, all the dots on the map would interact and show where all the male homeless people are. And so this dashboard helps the process of when the homelessness in the PIT count is going through, because now we can see what we want to show, what we want to see, and a good estimate as you're running the point in time count. So the fourth item, the data cleaning up. As you can see, if you look at this map, it's kind of tiny, but do you see some red dots outside of Riverside County? Those are outliers. So we're not supposed to be counting outside of Riverside because other counties are counting their own. We don't want to duplicate that. And so using GIS, we use that visually. It's very simple. We remove them from our count. And also, we go into the data and say, hey, this looks awkward. Why does this individual show 67 homeless individuals in this one spot? Well, that's because it's an error. We're not even counting 67 people. It could be, but we're looking at the general area that, hey, this person only counted one, but the age was 67. So these are things that we catch using the deduplication process so that we don't have an overcount. And so I want to end it off with how students can get involved. They could learn GIS basics, ArcGIS Online, QGIS. They could volunteer for local homeless count, which is not done this year. It happens every January. We just did one 2025, so expect one 2027. And we're just create awareness maps for the community. And yeah, so if you want more information regarding the point in time count, the results, the QR code will take you there if you're interested. Any questions?
Thank you. I have a two-part question. So is the dashboard able to track like the migration of the individuals and what surrounding counties they may come from, or?
Sure. That's a good question. As you see, as I said earlier, the point in time count is a snapshot. Now, if we combine that with previous years, we can overlay them. Then we can see some trends if they start gathering in one location more often. So this is using more data to see trends and movement, if there was any, yes. But not a snapshot, it's just taking a Photoshop.
Okay, and then my next question, the mobile app that you all use for the point in time count, is that the VI SPDAT?
No,
or is that a different assessment?
It is not the VI SPDAT. This survey is only for point in time count.
Okay.
So volunteers are given that link to access the survey only the days of the count, and the VI SPDAT is something different.
Got it.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion surrounding how that assessment ties into the whole person health score and where we're headed at with
Got it. Good question. Yes, but so no, it has no ties to that. This is just a general information that we collect These questions from the surveys are mandated by HUD to ask
Got
these
it.
specific questions. Every year, the HUD changes the questionnaires and the answers, so it has no affiliation with VIASPADAT and other assessments.
Thank you for confirming.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Round of applause for Nathan. All right, well, that does conclude all of our speakers for today. We still have a few more raffles to give out, so feel free to stick around and check your raffle tickets. Do you want to?
So as we close and end on GIS Day of 2025, just want to thank everyone for attending, both in person and those that joined us online. We definitely had a great day. We learned, we listened to speakers, we saw some drone demos, we had some interactive booths, we had some giveaways, and really just it highlights how we're using GIS in the county of Riverside. Technology continues to transform, how we plan, build, and serve our communities, and GIS is just one of those foundational things that we use to do the work that we do. A special thank you to all the county departments, partners, and volunteers who made this event possible, and to our guests and students and the GIS professionals who brought their enthusiasm and ideas. Your participation and curiosity are what make events like this successful. So we thank everyone for participating, for volunteering to help set up, to be speakers, to have booths, to donate items for giveaways, all those things we appreciate and we're very thankful. And as we close out on today's celebration, let's continue the spirit of collaboration and innovation that GIS Day presents. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And thank you for making GIS Day 2025 a success. We could go out into the lobby and do raffles, because there might be more people out there that have tickets.
Oh, well, I guess I was just going to give out another In-N-Out gift card, a trivia question. Does anyone know how many Riverside County departments there are? You guys can throw out numbers. Okay, that's close. No. No? That is correct.
Kimberly. Yeah, I think we're going to go out and get some more tickets in here. We got the grand prize.